we're driving from Phoenix to Sedona for our first day of our ayahuasca ceremony weekend. We are stocked up. Neither of us have had any coffee because we're not allowed
stocked
to.
Stocked up and uncaffeinated.
Yeah.
Going on
Uncaffeinated.
fumes and spirit and hope.
How are you feeling?
I'm nervous as shit.
Yeah.
I'm nervous. Yeah, I'm nervous. I'm not looking forward to throwing up today. Like, it's just not. It's just not the part that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, fair enough. I think we're probably both gonna throw up just because that's who we are as humans.
Yeah.
Might shit our pants, who knows? But yeah, I'm feeling a little, I don't know, I feel a little weird. I don't know if it's because I'm like uncaffeinated or if I'm just like apprehensive, but I'm feeling a little like,
yeah, it's definitely feeling a little bit swirly, a little,
yeah,
like, what have I gotten myself into? But, because also I've had like high expectations.
Yeah, yeah.
I recognize, like, I've had high expectations for this. I've been looking forward to it. And now it's coming, and yeah, I'm just trying to be really present with the experience. This is it. We're doing it.
We're doing it.
It's happening.
Oh, yeah, I've had no expectations. Like, I don't really know what my expectations are. It's not like I don't think anything's gonna happen, but I don't know what's gonna happen, and my main curiosity is, like, around creativity and creative blocks, and wanting to know, like, what's blocking me from doing the projects that I have wanted to do, and, like, where my blocks are. Other than that, literally no idea. So, yeah, that's where we're at today. It is 9:38. We're on our way to Sedona. We're going to check into our hotel, and then we're going to have our last meal.
Our last supper.
And then onward to check in at the retreat at noon. Mwah. Okay, we're in Walmart somewhere in Arizona, Midwest America. There was a Bible word search and mini cowboy boots.
We've been getting looks. I don't know if you've noticed that we've been getting looks.
No.
Oh, I've noticed that.
Love.
Neither of us are wearing a bra.
We're both wearing all white for our ceremony. We're getting fruit and the very limited selection of food that we can eat that does not have seed oil and a bunch of other crap in it because we're supposed to be pure ladies, which is why we're wearing white. And now we're looking for an eye mask, and then we're going to drive to Sedona.
Stay tuned.
Do you have anything to add?
Pray for us. Honestly.
Get your freak on. Quiet. Hush your mouth. Silence when I spit it out. Stop believing that y'all can't throw it. Get your freak on. 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 I picked up the paper. It was more than I knew. People in use. Put on the code in the pouring. Strange lies, so long, even after you're gone. I know you love me and so.
Okay, we're at the house preparing for the ceremony, and we've just put all the flowers on the altar. And I'm surprised to know that it's someone's house. I kind of thought we'd be outside. So I'm feeling a little nervous about that because I always want to be outside when I'm doing any sort of journey. So yeah, we've all got our little spots, and we can go outside. There's a backyard, but I'm just kind of like, isn't there gonna be a mess? Like, what's gonna happen? But anyway, we're in this guy's house in Sedona. It's a big, beautiful house. There's windows, and we're all sitting in like a circle, and there's an altar, and then there's like a big flower altar that we just made, and I did some journaling. My main questions for her are around my creativity and like where my blocks are. Yeah, feeling a little like on edge, a little uneasy, not like scared. I don't feel fear. I just feel like we're doing this, like, okay. Yeah, and I don't know, I'm just really grateful to be here. I'm really grateful for where I'm at in my life. I'm really curious, and that's my update for now. It is 12:45. I think we'll probably start orientation soon. Okay, so it's the morning after our first ceremony, and was not what I expected. Yeah, it was like, everyone says that it hits you like a punch, like it's like kind of all at once and kind of intense, like all at once. And apparently that is how the medicine from like South America is, but this medicine is from Hawaii, and it's more gentle, and it's like a slower build. And actually there was like a long time at the beginning where I didn't feel like I was feeling anything, and I was kind of just like waiting around to feel something. And it was kind of the vibe in the room that like no one else was really having like a big experience. It was just like, you know, everybody was kind of just like vibing, like waiting. And then we drank more, and I again was kind of like, okay, like what's happening? And then at one point I kind of started just feeling like uncomfortable in my body. I was like sitting, and I was like, no, I don't want to be sitting. So I got up and I went to another area of the room and I started dancing. Hotel bed. Yeah, so I got up and went to another side of the room and started dancing. And then I was just like moving and dancing on my own, and I feel like that really activated the medicine for me. It was like, you know, I was like having things come up, and actually like while I was feeling like nothing was really happening, I was having like really random memories just like flip through my brain, like just like random shit that I have never thought about since it happened. You know, like a date I went on in uni with this guy that like doesn't matter, you know, like just some random shit. Like another date that I went on also in uni around the same time with this guy that like was the bartender at the tennis club that I worked at, and I was like, I don't know, 22, and he was like 40, and he ended up being like kind of weird, but I just like haven't thought about him since, you know, like so random. And yeah, just stuff like that. Like it was like totally random memories that kind of like inconsequential. Anyway, that was like before I got up and started dancing. That was when I was kind of just like waiting around for something to happen. Yeah, and I like started to stretch, and then I was like, okay, stretching feels good. I kind of want to like move. So I got up, went and danced, and then I was like dancing for a while, and I kind of had this moment with like my 8-year-old self where she was coming through, and she was like, you need to be dancing. Like, why are you not dancing more in your life? And then I kind of had this like whole moment where I was like, yeah, okay, like, you know, the question that I was going in with was around like what's blocking my creativity. And then like while I was dancing, I was thinking about how like any time in my life where I've been like particularly creative and creatively inspired, I've been dancing like a lot. Like when I wrote my first, like my poetry collection, I was dancing like 5 nights a week. And I've literally come back to this conclusion like 100 million times in my life. Like, I need to be dancing. It's like not an extra thing. It's not a luxury. It's not like a treat. It's like as important as like taking my vitamins. And like I need to be doing that. But since living in Sydney, it's been quite hard to find a dance environment, like a studio that I like going to and like want to go back to. Like I always enjoy going to a class, but I haven't quite felt like I found it yet in terms of like a space that has like community and, you know, like-minded people, and that I feel like comfortable and like excited to go to like, it's just, I just haven't found it yet. And it's been really hard. So I like haven't really been dancing nearly enough. And I teach classes right now, which are great, but that's for other people. Like it's not for, I mean, it's for me in the sense that I love teaching, but it's not for me in the sense that I'm not just there for joy, you know? And when I was writing my last book, I was dancing like 5 nights a week, and I was just like going to class for me, not for anyone else. Just for joy, for like no other reason, just because it was, I needed it. I loved it. And I've lost that these past couple years. And so, yeah, I went in kind of like wondering why, because like all my creative projects that I've been doing lately, like I've been doing them, but like my heart's not in it. Like I've been like going through the motions, even with the Belly series. Like I've been going through the motions. I really want to do this project. I get excited every time I'm doing a photo shoot. I'm excited about the idea of it, but in practice, there's like a feeling missing. Like I don't have the like intense inspiration and drive and energy behind it that I've had when I've done other projects at other times in my life. And that's when I'm like, what am I missing? Like where is that feeling? Why can't I get it? And so when I started dancing and like, you know, I saw all these versions of me throughout my whole life, because I've been dancing since I was like 4 years old. And that wasn't like, my parents didn't like put me in dance and tell me that's what I was doing. I literally like begged them because I just needed to dance. And they actually like tried to, like I really wanted to dance. They put me in ballet when I was like 5. And like a bunch of other, you know, little like through the city, like at the rec center, like little kids dance kind of thing when I was like 3, 4. And then when I was like 5 and 6, I was like begging them to let me like go to a studio. They put me in ballet, and then they wanted me to like try other stuff, so I wasn't just like only gonna ever dance. So I did like soccer and like softball and gymnastics, but I just always wanted to dance. I like begged them to just let me dance. And yeah, like then I started dancing, and it's just been like such a constant through my whole life. As an adult, I've like come back and forth to and from it, and every time that I'm dancing consistently, I'm like, oh, this is me. This is real. This is me. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be now. Very that. It's very like, I have like a very strong message come through every time I'm dancing that's like, you need to be doing this. And when I'm not dancing, I come to the conclusion at least once a week that I need to be dancing more. So like, what the fuck am I doing? It's just hard in Sydney. Like it's just, there's not that much. It's kind of like a dance desert. There's like some good stuff happening, and I've been to like all the studios, and you know, there's stuff going on, but it's like hard to get to, and like I just haven't found something that like fits well. But anyway, I probably just need to try harder. Yeah, so anyway, obviously she was going to tell me that I needed to be dancing. I should have clocked that. I literally should have known that. Because also like my whole life is about like teaching other people how to like be connected with their body and dance and move. And like, feel into your body as it naturally wants to move and like yada 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 yada. That's literally my whole thing. That's my whole thing. But I just was very like, okay, but I'm like not doing this for me nearly as much as I need to be. And then I was like dancing for a while, and then I kind of had this moment where I was just like running my hands through my hair, and it was like similar vibe. I was like, when was the last time you like touched yourself in like a pleasure way, like not in even like a sexual way, just like in a pleasure way? It's been a while. I mean, I've also been traveling. I like also have been traveling and like haven't been like masturbating at all. Just like haven't been that connected to my body in the past couple weeks because I've been very connected to like visiting people and seeing everybody and family and etc. So yeah, I just haven't been super connected to my body. So it was really nice to feel like I was properly reconnecting. Gotta like switch hands. It's hurting my hand. So yeah, had a really nice like reconnection to my body, and that felt like it kind of like kick-started the medicine working. Like after that, I was definitely like in a process, but I wasn't in the process the way I expected to be in a process, in the sense that I wasn't like, there was no visuals, I wasn't seeing anything, like there was no like meeting with her. It was very internal. I felt very internal. Like I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was kind of just doing my thing. Was dancing for a while, and then after I was dancing, I came back and like laid where everyone else was, and we were like around the altar, and I was kind of again just like doing my thing, but I was like around people, and then there was like on the altar there's all these flowers, and I picked up a rose, and I was just like staring at the rose and like playing with the rose, and I was just like, oh my God, you came out of the earth. How crazy. Like I was just like, flowers come out of the earth, oh my God. And like pulling it apart and like putting my whole face in it, and just like, yeah, burying my nose in it and being like, it smells delicious. Like the earth made this thing to smell like this for a reason. And I was just like on that train. And I was also very like, this is a pussy. Like there are so many mirrors in nature. Nature is just all mirrors. It's crazy. This is a vulva. This is a pussy. Like, ugh, I'm just like putting it all over my face. Like, ugh. For like a while. Like this lasted a while. I mean, I actually don't know how long it lasted, but it obviously felt like a while. And then it like kind of switched, like went outside after that. I don't really know what was happening, but I just switched into this really intense state of gratitude. Like I couldn't speak, and it was like so much gratitude that it hurt. Like it physically hurt in my chest. And it was like, again, similar to at the beginning, like random memories from my life that I haven't really thought about, much. But they were just coming up kind of as like, I was like watching them kind of like slide through, but I was seeing every situation from like the other person's perspective, or like other people's perspectives in the situation. Like they were my memories, but I was seeing them from the other person. And like random shit, like for example, there was this memory that came up, and it was like just me going to meet a girl that I danced with in the Forum in high school. The Forum was like the main hallway where like everyone hung out in my high school. And it was like in between classes, no one was in the Forum, and I just like went to meet up with her. She was letting me borrow a dress for the formal. We talked for like a minute, I took the dress, and then I like went to class. Haven't thought about that since. But in like watching this memory, it came back, and I was seeing it from her perspective, and the feeling, I was just like so grateful, because I was like, oh my God, she was so nice to me, and she didn't have to be. She was like, I danced with her, she was older, she was like 4 years older than me because she was a returner she was like doing her lap year when I was in grade 9. So she was like, 4 years older. And I just thought she walked on water. I thought she was so cool. I thought she was so hot, like so pretty. You know, I used to like stalk her Facebook all the time, and like anything she wore, I was like, oh my God, she's so cool. I just like worshipped her. And she was so nice to me for like no reason. Like I was just like this grade 9 that we danced together at a studio outside of school, but like at school, like there was no reason why she was so nice to me, but she was so nice to me. She would like, you know, invite me to stuff and like talk to me about stuff. And like whenever I asked her any questions, she was just like so down to just like be nice. And I was just like this little 14-year-old, like, you're so cool. And so in the memory, I like saw it from her perspective, where she was like letting me borrow this dress for the formal, and she probably like didn't think anything of it, but my feeling was like, oh my God, like, thank you for being so nice to me. Like it was literally that. Like I was just like, thank you, like to the point that I like didn't know what to do with all this gratitude. It was crazy. And like so many situations like that where just like people that have been nice to me in my life, I was just like, oh, thank you, like so intense. And so much gratitude. Like I was home for 10 days in Canada before coming here, and I was like kind of wondering if like, you know, like intense family shit would come up, like feelings and like intense stuff. But it was just gratitude. Like while I was home, I had this like really nice day where I hung out with my best friend and her baby, and like slept over at her place and like got lots of time with her baby. And then her baby was going with her husband, or like daddy, on like an outing for the day. So Quinn left, and then it was just Sam and I, and we haven't had a day, just the two of us, in honestly years, because every time I see her, it's like, you know, her family or my family, or like our partners are there, like whatever. But we just got like a day, just the two of us. We like went for breakfast, and then we like just went to the Georgian Mall, and like that's the mall in Barrie, if you know, you know. Just like tootled around, like did some shopping, like just like girled out, and it was so nice. And I was really grateful for it, like while it was happening. But like that came back, and I was just like, it's so important and special to have these friendships. And like, because when we were shopping, and like we went into like American Eagle, and this American Eagle store has looked the same since I was literally 13. And because 2010s fashion is like back right now, it's like a thing right now, like mini skirts and like polo tees and like long layered tank tops, like it's all the same that it was in like, you know, 2010. So going back into that store was a fucking time warp. And then like Sam being with me, and like she was like trying on pants, and I was like going and getting her sizes, and it was just so like we were very 14 again. And it was, I don't know, it was just so nice. And then, we just like got to talk about stuff that we haven't really talked about in like a long time, and just like ask each other questions. And like then we went into Oshkosh and like got a bunch of little like clothes for her daughter, and oh, it was so good. So and I was just like, you know, in the ceremony on the medicine, just like, I'm so grateful. I like don't know what to do. I was like, it literally felt like when the Grinch's heart grows 3 sizes, and it's like beating through his chest, and you can like see it. Like that's how my heart felt. It was like painful how grateful I felt. It was crazy. Oh my God. And like so much gratitude for Cam. Just like there's like a really chaotic like moment where I was journaling, and like the writing is all like enormous and like off the lines and like probably not even legible, and just like going off about like how much I love him and like how much I'm so grateful for him. And I was sitting outside at one moment, like looking up at the stars in the desert, and I had this moment where I was thinking about the last time that I was in this desert was 2021, and I was living in the van, and I wasn't in Arizona, but I was in Joshua Tree, and it kind of, you know, it's like the same desert, kind of. And I remembered in 2021 when I was in the van, I was looking up at the stars, and I was thinking about him, like, at that time, because we were, like, you know, we were, like, in love, but he was, like, moving to Australia, and I like didn't know if I was going to see him much before he left, because I was like in California and like blah 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 blah, you know, like the longing, very longing. I was like sitting in the desert in Joshua Tree. I was like, what will be for us, you know? I was just like longing. Yeah, and that's 5 years ago. And then, like, this is the next time that I've been in this part of the world since then. And I was, like, looking up at the stars, and I was, like, thinking about him. And then I was like, oh, my God, last time I was here, I was thinking about him. And, like, look at us now. Like, we, like, have this life that I, like, could never have dreamed of. And we're engaged. And, like, oh, I just love him so much. You know, like, very, like... just like, yeah, I don't know, just again, like, just like so fucking grateful. I just like didn't know what to do with it. And like, I didn't purge the whole time. Like, I didn't cry. I didn't like hysterically laugh. I didn't like throw up. I didn't poop. Like, nothing came out of me. And it felt like something needed to come out, because there was like so much gratitude. I like actually just felt like I couldn't hold it. It was crazy. And like so much empathy too, you know. I was like really empathizing with Kim and like seeing like situations in his life and like situations between us from his perspective, and like so much empathy, just being like, God, you're such a fucking epic human. Like, you're just literally my favorite person in the world. You're just like so sick and like so like, yeah, just like very that. I was just like, I can't say enough good things about you. I just like think the world of you. Just like, oh my God. Oh, getting emotional. Yeah. So yeah. It was like very intense, and I felt very internal. And actually at one point, Nicole came over and sat with me and like asked me like what my process was like, or like what I was thinking about. And I like appreciated her checking in, but I was like, I do not want to talk to anybody right now. I just didn't want to talk. I was like curled up in the fetal position on a couch outside, processing, like, I don't know, just some other memory probably. I was like in my process thinking, I was empathizing. That was like, honestly, just empathizing just like so much. I can't even remember what I was empathizing about at that point, but I was just like in someone else's empathy, or empathizing for someone else's life. Anyway, empathizing. And I was like, I'm like so in this right now. I don't want to talk to you, but I've like appreciated her being there. And yeah, there was also this other piece, because there was a man that is in a wheelchair there, like in ceremony. And that was a really interesting piece, because my Uncle Derek, my dad's brother, was paraplegic. He was in a wheelchair. He got into a car accident at 19, and he was in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. And like seeing that guy there, just like, he had a very similar chair to Derek's as well. Like, it was just like a pretty minimal, like big wheels, little seat, like not one of the ones with like footrests or like, you know, the intense arms or anything like that. It was just like a chair. And he was like similar build too, like just from the back, it just kind of gave Derek. And it was bringing up for me, like, again, just like empathizing. I was like seeing the process from like just that whole thing of like Derek having an accident, being in a chair, like going through his life being in a chair, and then towards the end of his life he like struggled with a lot of depression and he passed in 2021. No, 2017. Sorry, my grandpa passed in 2021. Yeah, Derek passed in 2017, and so I saw like the whole thing from my dad's perspective, which I've like empathized with him in the past, but not in that way. Like, and it wasn't negative. It wasn't like super heavy. It wasn't like really painful. It was just like really holding a lot of empathy for my dad, being like, oh my God, like watching your brother like get injured and like, you know, try to live his life. And like my dad really like tried to still include him in everything. Like Derek was always at like Christmas and we saw him a lot. He didn't live very far. We like had birthdays and Christmas and everything with him. And there was this one point where during ceremony, I was like walking behind the guy that was in the wheelchair, just like to get around him at the table. And I had this memory because the way he was sitting at the table, he was just like pulled up in his chair to the table. And that was just like exactly, you know, how Derek looked, pulled up to like the dinner table at my grandparents' house for someone's birthday or whatever. And that was so normal to me for my whole life. But I haven't interacted with like that specific image in a really long time, like seeing Derek from behind sitting at the dinner table. And it was just, it was just like very like, wow, like, okay, like, yeah, just like processing that and feeling all the empathy and even seeing it from like my grandparents' perspective of like their son, like navigating that. And like he got like towards the end, he was like really bad. He was like really depressed. He like didn't leave his house, you know, it was really, really sad for everyone. But when I was younger, like I remember him being like such a great uncle. So yeah, just like a lot of empathy for everyone. Yeah, and like a lot of empathy for my dad for sure. Like my mom came up here and there, but I think like just because my dad and I have had like more of a tumultuous relationship as an adult, you know, like in my 20s when I was like moved to Montreal, like in gender studies and was just like, you know, hardcore fucking feminist, like nipple piercings, armpit hair, like fuck the patriarchy, the feminine mystique t-shirt, that kind of vibe. Yeah, and just a lot of empathy for my dad. And then like so much fucking gratitude again, and it was just like, oh my God, I'm gonna burst. And then I was like very on my own for a while, and then at one point I felt like I wanted to share. I think just probably because I needed to like put the energy somewhere. I just needed to get it out. So I called one of the guardians over and she like sat with me and I kind of like described to her what I was experiencing. She was like stroking my forehead and she was like taking a rose and dipping it in water and then like dripping the water on me. And I felt like I was being baptized. And then she started singing and then I was like, oh my God, now I'm so grateful for you. Like, you're so beautiful. Like, just like, oh my God, so much gratitude that it was like exhausting. Like, I was like, oh my God, I can't handle another thing to be grateful for. Crazy. Yeah. There was like a lot more, obviously. There was like, the interesting thing was like the experience of this medicine was, it was very like small layers, like peeling back small layers as opposed to like getting dropped in the deep end. Like I didn't get any visuals. Yeah, I didn't feel like I was like out of my mind at any point. Like I felt very aware and present and like I wasn't like out of control. I was like very aware of my body, like very present. It was like slowly peeling back small layers. And they kind of said that like the first night is more chill and then the second night is like much more intense. So I don't know what tonight's going to be like. But I'm really grateful for, oh, fuck, me and my gratefulness. Oh, really grateful for like all of the messages that came through. you know, and like, if anything, in terms of like processing family shit, like, I feel like what I needed to see and what she wanted to show me was like more understanding and empathy for my parents as like humans. Like, I was able to just like really see their humanity and like see them as adults, like dealing with shit as adults. They're just like human beings, and really just empathizing for them in like all these different little ways. Like, it wasn't like it was none of the like big fights or like big shit came up. It was more like little moments that I saw, and I was like, oh, like, I don't know, I was just seeing it from their perspective. Yeah. And yeah, that's what I needed to get, I guess. I just needed to get like more understanding, more empathy for like them. Also, this is like so random, but I'm a sneezy girl. I tend to sneeze a lot, and when I sneeze like 10 times in a row. And so I actually fucking hate when someone says bless you, which is like, I know it's weird, but I just like, I want to draw the least amount of tension to myself as possible when I'm sneezing, because I know I'm going to sneeze like 10 times. So much so that I actually usually, like, if I can feel a sneeze coming on, I usually like remove myself. Like, I'll go to the bathroom or whatever, because I just don't want to be perceived. Don't want to be like blessed. No, I just want you to leave me alone and pretend like nothing happened. But then I had this moment. I was sneezing during ceremony, and everybody around me was saying bless you, and I was like, stop fucking blessing me. And then I was like, oh my God, because I don't ever want anyone to bless me, I don't ever say bless you. Like, I never, when someone sneezes, I don't ever say bless you, because I don't want that. So my first instinct is to like act like nothing happened and not bless them. And I was like, well, that's fucked up, Taylor. Maybe other people want to be blessed when they sneeze. So I like wrote in my journal, like, you need to say bless you. Oh, so if you sneeze in front of me, I'm going to bless you from now on. I'm going to intend to, because I'm not perfect. Yeah. So then towards the end of the ceremony, everybody was kind of like coming down. I was feeling really exhausted. Like, just obviously my heart grew 3 sizes. I was like empathizing for 6 hours. I was exhausted. And everybody was kind of, once the ceremony was closed, everybody was kind of sitting around at the table eating. There was like soup and some food and stuff. And I was like kind of conflicted, because I wanted to sit with everyone and like connect with these people. But I still was like very internal. Like, I just could not talk to anybody. So I curled up on the couch. There was like a couch, and then behind the couch there was a table, and everyone was sitting at the table there. I made myself a tea, and I just sat on the couch, so I was like in earshot of what everyone was saying and felt like I could, you know, participate. But I wasn't being expected to participate, which is actually like one of my favorite places to be. Like, I love being in on the conversation but not having to participate, and just like witnessing and absorbing. Love that. So yeah, and then I was like, you know, I feel like I should connect with people. But then I just kept looking at the table and being like, nah, if I was at that table, I'd be like wanting to leave. So I sat by myself for a bit, and then Nicole came over, and she was like ready to leave, because we're staying in a hotel like nearby where the ceremony is. So then we came home, and I was still feeling the like intense feeling in my chest. Like, it felt like behind my sternum, it felt like there was something like trying to get out, like pushing against my sternum. It was like painful. So I couldn't go to bed. I was like wide awake. She was really tired. I was like wide awake. So I called Cam and talked to him for literally 2 hours. I sat out on the curb of like the hotel parking lot, and just like sat there and talked to him for like 2 hours. Told him everything about everything, and I was like gushing to him about him. Like, just like gushing about how much I love him. Oh yeah, it was intense. Like, it was really intense, but like, and I was exhausted by it, but really beautiful. Really beautiful. Really, really grateful for that experience. But But I honestly, like, don't know how we're supposed to go into another one today, and it's going to be even more intense. And I, like, I don't know if I can feel anything else. But also, I feel like whatever's in me, whatever was, like, behind my sternum, whatever's there, I need to be, like, cracked open. It needs to go somewhere, you know? I need to, like, let it out and, like, feel it and, like, get it out somehow, whether that be through dancing again or through, like, crying or puking or whatever it is. I don't know, but I definitely feel like something needs to come out of me. So I'm hoping to be, like, cracked open today. I have no idea what it's going to be like today. Right now I'm feeling very calm. All morning I've just felt very calm, very chill. Yeah, I, like, woke up, had a tea, did some journaling, had a shower. Now I need to wash my underwear in the sink because I don't have any clean underwear. So I'm going to do that. And we're not allowed to eat after 10, so I had some oatmeal this morning and a banana and peanut butter, and I'm not eating now for the rest of the day. I was so hungry when I woke up, though, because everybody else ate after ceremony last night. I literally couldn't. I was like, no. Can't even think about food. So I woke up starving, but then I ate well, not that much. I should have eaten more. Literally, weird tummy. But yeah, Sedona is incredible. It's crazy when you're driving here how as soon as you get to Sedona, everything's red. Like, the land is red, the rocks are red, everything's very red. And actually, we were driving in and Nicole was like, we should get, you know, like a crystal or a stone or something to bring in with us. Like, we should get one here to bring. I was like, oh, that's a good idea. She was like, yeah, we'll look for a place before we go to ceremony. This was yesterday. So we dropped our stuff at the hotel, and then we were going back out to the car, and in the parking lot of our hotel, there's like a plaza, and there's this standalone crystal shop right there, like in the same parking lot. And we were like, what are the odds of that? Amazing. So we go in, and the guy in the shop was like, I haven't been open in 9 months. This is my first day that I'm opening after 9 months. You guys are my first customers. Amazing. We were both, like, just looked at each other and we were like, okay, fuck, right? The alignment. So then we're looking around, and I was feeling really drawn to carnelian, which I used to be really drawn to carnelian. I haven't in the past couple of years felt like a big call to her, but I was really drawn to these gorgeous carnelians and picked one up or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling really drawn to carnelian. I think it was because, like, Sedona, all the land is red and orange. So carnelian is literally like the color of the land. Like, it's like perfect. And the guy, his name was Clay, the crystal man, was like, well, that makes sense. It's like the year of the fire horse. Like, carnelian is the stone of this year. And I was like, oh my God, of course it is. Of course it is. So, and also, like, Leo season, fire, Lionsgate portal. Oh, that's another thing. Today is Lionsgate portal. So don't know what that's going to bring in ceremony. But yeah, all these things are just like very fire, red, orange, carnelian, like that. So I got a carnelian, it's gorgeous, and a black tourmaline for like protection and grounding. And I had those with me the whole time, but I left them on the altar actually overnight. I didn't bring them to the hotel with me. So I'll be back with them today, and I will show you my carnelian. She's beautiful. Yeah, and I put my black tourmaline and my carnelian on the altar before I left. But I also put this little keychain that Emma made me for my birthday on the altar, like at the beginning, so it was there the whole time. Beautiful keychain with like an aventurine stone and some like hand-picked beads that Emma picked, and like a spiral charm, which is like, you know what? Tell your best friends you love them. Honestly, grateful. Ah! Oh, literally. Yeah, so my keychain is on the altar and my 2 stones are on the altar. And I'm going to bring my journal again today because that was really useful for me a couple times. I was just like really writing. And we have to wear white. I don't know if I told you that, but we all have to wear white. And yeah, I've had a big breakfast. I'm feeling very chill, very curious, a bit apprehensive, a bit like, oh my God, I don't know if I have it in me, but I do. And I didn't have like, it was all just like so positive that it hurt. Like it was all just such beautiful emotions. And actually, there was one point where I was like, is it not working on me? Like, am I not feeling it in the right way because I'm not, like really sad or really angry or really grieving? Like it wasn't like these negative, like hard emotions that I was feeling. So I was like, is this right? Like, is this what I'm supposed to be experiencing? Everybody else, people were like crying and purging and like having really intense emotional processes. And I was just like so in the vibration of love. I was like, is this right? And then I had this moment of like, oh yeah, like this is like in the realm of intense emotional experiences. It's just not like super sad or super angry or these things that we expect to feel. It's actually just like the other side, but still in that realm of like really intense emotions. So yeah, it was interesting that I was like discounting my like gratitude and empathy as like, oh well, that's not as like valid as, like really crying and being really intense in like that way. And then just being like, wait, no, like this is equally important, equally valid. Yeah, so that's my download from night 1. I think that's it for now. I will see you when I see you. We are heading to ceremony in about an hour, so got another hour to wash my underwear in the sink and mentally prepare, and we'll be back in it. Okay, we are on our way for day 2. I'm feeling a little apprehensive because this time when we get there, we kind of go like right in. We don't have like an orientation or anything, so it's very throw yourself right in. Yeah. How are you?
I honestly don't even know. I'm tired. I'm scared. It's like, do I have the will to do this for the next like 7 hours?
Yeah, it's a lot. I said this last night to Kim, I don't know how my heart will take this. Like, I don't know. I feel like my heart's gonna explode.
The only way out is through, to go deeper.
Yeah.
So we're going deeper today.
All right. We're doing it.
Buckle up.
See you on the flip side.
See you on the other side.
I just can't get over this landscape. It's crazy. Okay, we have arrived at the ceremony place. Feeling better now that I'm here. Everyone's really sweet and like high energy, and everyone's just like chatting and mingling. A lot of people stayed here, so you can tell that everybody like kind of bonded, and that's really sweet. I'm still like, I don't know if I want to go back into it, but I'm here. Everyone's kind of on this journey together, so it's feeling really reassuring. Yeah. I think that's all I have to say right now. There's someone here that it's their 50th ceremony, which to me is like insane. Obviously the guy that's running it has done like hundreds. He's like so in the eye of, like, he's done so many ceremonies, but 50 is crazy too. So I'm just such a baby, I'm still an embryo with a long, long way to go. Anyway, that's how I feel going into day 2. Mellow, now that I'm here, a little like butterflies in my belly kind of feeling, but we're all in this together, and everybody that had really intense experiences yesterday is in really good spirits today. So even if it's like really intense and hard, you're not gonna die. It's kind of like all we need as humans, isn't it? Like we're not gonna die. Nothing's permanent. Even all the intense feelings I felt yesterday, nothing's permanent. Not gonna die. Anything I go through won't last forever. It's not permanent. And like when you remember that, you can kind of just like do anything. Okay. Mwah. Okay, so I'm back in LA. It's 2 days post ceremony. And it's the 1 year anniversary of my Nana passing, so I'm a bit teary. I'm a bit in that, but I still really want to talk about the second ceremony because it was honestly life-changing in a really beautiful way. It was like everyone was saying that the second ceremony is more intense than the first. It's kind of like in the first ceremony you like get into it, but it's a bit more gentle, and then in the second ceremony it like builds on what the first ceremony was. Boy, did it ever. So yeah, like the first ceremony, like I said, was a lot about like gratitude, empathy, and just feeling a lot of empathy and gratitude for all the people in my life. And I had that pain in my chest, like I wanted it to be cracked open, and I just kept saying like, crack me open, like something needs to come out. I need to express this, it needs to move, like something needs to happen here with this. It was just all like right here. And so yeah, the second ceremony was really, I took a little bit more right off the bat than I did the first time. And, you know, I kind of like was sitting there and I started to feel the medicine, and I got up and danced again. And that seems to be how it activates in my body, which, you know, makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I got up and danced again. And as I was dancing, it really started to activate, and I felt just really connected to my body, and again just like really in deep empathy and deep gratitude, and a lot of, you know, messaging around like, this is what I need to be doing in the world, I need to be dancing. But then it like built and built and built. Like dancing felt really good, and then it was building, and I realized that I really wanted to use my voice, like I wanted to sing. So I started kind of making noises, and then it kind of built to like the peak of my experience, and I was like sitting and moving and like swaying, and then I just started singing, and it was like, ah, but like top of my lungs, like singing as loud as I could. And that was really building a lot. And like at the peak of my experience, I was like really making a lot of noise, like really, really singing. And it felt like this crazy activation with the music, the singing. My voice felt like I fully, for the first time, understood what people mean when they say like I'm channeling something. Like that wasn't me. It was like I am the channel for the thing to happen, because this sound, this like, yeah, sound, music, I don't know, this note felt like it was like coming through my channel. It like wasn't from me, it was like from my channel. And at the same time, this sounds like crazy, but I swear this happened. I felt like I was getting a download from like a higher source, or like all of human consciousness, I felt like I was getting like a download of just like deep understanding of everything is the best way I could explain it. Like I just kept, while I was singing, I was on the floor and I was moving and I was convulsing, and I was moving and singing so much because it was overwhelming the amount of information I was getting. It was like, I felt like I could just see all. Oh, there's ants all over me. Ugh, hate ants. Yeah, it was like I kept having these scenarios flash through my mind, but they were, I was seeing scenarios as like an outside third party, like as an observer. So kind of like this like objective, like overseeing experience of being able to see just like all these different human experiences of like someone having a baby, or like someone having a birthday celebration, or, you know, someone like going through a hard time, or like losing a loved one, or like getting a good grade on a math test, like just everything. And I was kind of having this like flash through my mind, and being able to, I just kept sitting there saying, I understand, I understand, I understand. Like it was just this overwhelming sense of understanding of like the human experience. It was, yeah, that's the best way I can describe it. I just like kept having scenarios come through my head and being like, I understand. And it was almost like, too, at one point there was this kind of like flash of like the cheesy sayings that like moms have on plaques in the kitchen, you know, like live, laugh, laugh, and like, or live, laugh, love, and like this too shall pass, and like, I don't know, like friends make you rich, like that shit. All of those kinds of like cheesy like sayings that humans say to each other and have said to each other forever. I was seeing those kind of flash through my mind and getting this like felt sense of understanding. Like it felt like for the first time, like I've said all these things for my whole life, but it felt like for the first time I like deeply understood what we are doing here and why we say these things to each other. You know, I deeply understood for the first time. It honestly felt like I had thought I understood all these things before this experience, and then I was thinking about all the things that humans do. Like there was a lot of music playing the whole time, and I was listening to the music, and I was like, for the first time, I swear, I was like, I, on like a felt level, understand why we've always made music. Even though I've like understood that my whole life, like I'm a dancer, like I understand why we need music, I understand it, I get it, but I've never had that felt sense of like, oh, like I get how we make a beat, I get how we like collaborate on music, I get how a song is built, I get why we do this, I get what it brings people, like I get what it's trying to do, like that for like everything. It was really crazy, and like flashing through, you know, scenarios in my life similar to the first night, but more intense, because the first night was just like really gratitude and empathy for everybody, and this second time when things would flash through my mind, you know, like for example, like I would have like scenarios play throughout my life, just like kind of just like play, and I had this like really felt sense of like my parents' love and like what it's like to love a child, and like all the little things that they've done throughout my life that I, you know, like don't really think twice about, but actually are just, is just like so much love. And I could like feel that amount of love, and it was like this understanding, this like, oh, I understand, you know, I understand like why you did that thing, even though at the time I didn't understand, and I thought you were shit, and like was a teenager and gave you a shit ton of attitude. Like I understand, and like I understand, you know, my grandparents, and I understand my friends, and like I was seeing a lot of people in my life from like their experience, and just like, you know, this level of empathy that it was just like this level of empathy I didn't even know was possible. Like I could properly see the big picture. I was like outside of myself. I was in my body, and the whole time I felt very, you know, like Cam was asking me if I like lost awareness of like where I was or who I was, like if I had control of my body or not. And like, yes, the whole time I had full control of my body. I knew where I was, I knew who I was, I knew what I was doing, and I was like on board with what I was doing. And I think that was really important for me because I was able to be aware. I was like leaning in, because none of this was a negative experience. It was obviously really beautiful, but it was so deeply uncomfortable. Like I could not get comfortable. I was like on the ground, I was standing up, I was laying, I was like rocking side to side, I was like doing some like crazy movement shit and like singing. And at one point I was purging a bit. Like I didn't purge. Oh my God, there's literally ants all over me. I'm sitting in a graveyard because there was like no park around, and I just wanted to sit in a park and like talk about this. So I'm literally in a graveyard. And there's ants all over me, but I feel like, you know, the spirits here are happy to hear about this, because they're probably like, yeah, girl, you finally understand. Oh, and hopefully Nana's here. Yeah, so, oh, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I was like deeply, deeply uncomfortable. I was purging a little bit. Like I was having like big, like, but like not much was coming out except sound. A lot of sound was coming out. A lot of singing, a lot of like, and a lot of like moaning and stuff like that. Not a lot of purge, but a little bit. But the whole time, like I was so deeply uncomfortable, but I was like, literally, this too shall pass. I was like, this is temporary. I can handle this. Like, it's temporary. It will pass. I will get to the other side. And that's what Cam was kind of saying. He was like, his biggest fear around like doing this medicine is that, oh my God, I'm like, ants. Is that he's had experiences before where he's like fully lost his sense of self. And I was able the whole time to like be aware of who I was, where I was, what I was doing, and lean in and not resist the discomfort. Because I think had I resisted the discomfort, I would have had a really negative experience. Like I've never been so uncomfortable, like just really uncomfortable. And because I was getting all this like intense download of information, it was like this yellowish, whitish, orangish like beam, it felt like, that was like downloading all of human knowledge into my body and giving me this deep sense of understanding. But it was so overwhelming. It's like that word sonder. I wrote an essay on this in uni, the concept of sonder being sublime, because the sublime is essentially, like by definition, that which the human mind does not have capacity to process, right? Things on such a scale that are like small human minds do not have the capacity to properly understand. Like when you hear, 40,000 people were killed, you can like understand that that's really, really tragic, but you cannot possibly conceive of that much death all at once. Like I was recently at the Sedlec Ossuary in Czech Republic, which is basically a church where in the basement there's like 40,000 people's worth of human bones, and they're all made into like art and sculpture and like hangings and wall hangings and stuff, and it's really interesting. But the whole time I was walking around, I was trying to feel into that much death. Like you're looking at like just a ton of human skulls, and they're all made into art, and like you can look at it and appreciate it, but like I was really trying to have the felt experience of that much death. You can't. It's not really possible in our like normal conscious waking life. It's sublime. That place was sublime, and the concept of sonder is really sublime. To me, at least, this idea, sonder means the realization that every other human has an equally complex life to your own. Let's think about that for a second. Like every other human you pass on the street, every other human that exists has an equally complex life to your own. We can get on board with that as a concept, but like as practice, as something to like really fully understand, that's that's sublime. Like, we can't possibly fathom how everyone else has a life just as complex to our own. Like, right? We're our own main character. Like, that is so hard to sit down and conceptualize, because in order to conceptualize that, you have to actually like think about how complex your own life is and fully understand how complex your own life is, and all the people's in your life that you've touched, how your life ripples and affects everybody around you. And then you have to do that for everyone in the entire world, and that's impossible. I'll try to find that essay I wrote. Maybe I can share it. Yeah, really interesting. There's a shot in The Great Gatsby, actually, that captures this really beautifully. And it is a shot where the camera zoomed in on the window of the apartment where there's like a party happening when they're in the city, and they like go to that apartment. I can't remember whose apartment it is, but they go to that apartment and like have a party or whatever, and the camera zoomed in on this one apartment window, and then the camera zooms out and you see all the other apartment windows and like all the stuff going on. And there's a lot of art that's created around this, but that was the shot that really got me thinking about this concept of Sonder to begin with. Anyway, yeah, I'll try to find that essay. But anyway, yeah, so I felt like I was getting for the first time this like beam, this like download of that like sublime realization and understanding and insane amounts of empathy, of just like humanity, like on a general level, just like empathy for humanity. And it was really deeply uncomfortable and overwhelming. And the whole time I was conscious enough that I was able to tell myself, like, this is temporary, just like be with it, lean in. That's something that the facilitator was really, trying to encourage us to do, is like, no matter what the discomfort is, lean in, because the resistance will be worse. And there's information for you there, right? Like, I always say discomfort is a portal. And again, for the first time, like, I understand, like I was having understanding of my own advice that I give to other people, that I give to friends, that I give to clients, like my own shit that I say and believe. I was actually for the first time having like a felt understanding of what that means. Like in theory, I believe all these things, but as a felt experience, I was like, oh, I say that shit all the time. And I can feel the truth in it now. I can like really fully stand in that and like feel in my bones what that means. And that was across the board with like a lot of things that, are in my practice and in my belief system. But yeah, it was just this like really beautiful understanding of it all. And the discomfort is a portal. So I was like I was very present. I was very in my process. I was very leaned in, and I was very like, this is temporary, this will pass. This is temporary, this will pass. Yeah. And also the other thing too was like at the peak of the experience, because I was so deeply uncomfortable, my body wanted to sing. Like there was also a whole other piece, which I'll get into, around using my voice, and how, because I went into this experience wanting to know what was blocking me creatively. Because lately, I would say for the past like year or two, I've been really trying to find my creative inspiration, and I've been doing creative projects, but there's been a feeling missing. Like there's just a feeling missing is the best way I can describe it. Like in the past when I've done creative projects, there's a drive, there's an energy, there's a inspiration, there's something in me that is like really like dying to put this thing out into the world. And in the past 2 years or so, I just haven't been able to find that. So I went in, that was my main question. Oh my God, these fucking ants. That was my main question, is like, where is that feeling? Like what's missing? Like where is my inspiration? And when I was at the peak of it, what wanted to come out of me was song, was using my voice. So I was doing that, and I was getting really loud, and I was doing it for like a long time. This like, but like so loud for so long. And I had this whole realization that I want to take singing lessons, because I've never I've never done that. I took one singing lesson when I was maybe like 10 and I never went back. Yeah, and I've also like never really considered it because I've always been a dancer, and my mom has something around her voice. Like she's always said she can't sing, and then she's just always said we can't sing, as in like her, me, and my sisters. Just like we can't sing. We're great at other stuff, but we can't sing. And I've really internalized that and just kind of always believed that. So I've never been like, I'm going to take, I'm going to like explore this part of me. But I've always been really connected to music. And I had this whole realization that like I have just, taken her word for the fact that I can't sing and never actually explored it. Not to say that I think I'm like going to be the next Kelly Clarkson. No one can fill those shoes. But everybody can sing. Just like everybody can dance. I might not be great at it, but like I can learn how to use my voice. Anyway, so I had that whole thing, and I was like really singing and being really loud for a long time. And then one of the facilitators came over to me and was like, love what you're doing. Like, seems like this is really important in your process, but you're like, we have to be aware that like there are other people in this space, and like you're really impacting the space right now. And I was able to like fully get on board. I was like, yep, totally understand. Like I had been so in my own process. I was aware that there were people around me, but I was not that aware of how loud I was being, which I was going for it. Like I fully felt like this, I felt like an open channel, and this sound had been trying to get out of me for like 20 years is what it felt like. I cannot remember the last time I sang at the top of my lungs. Like I love a scream sing in the car, but like actually trying at the top of my lungs with like my full power, there's not many places where you can do that. And I there is, but like I haven't sought them out. Like I'm not going to choir, so it felt like that it needed, like my full power of my voice needed to get out for like 20 years or something. But when he came over and basically told me like, love what you're doing, but he was like, you just need to find another way to express this now. Like that was great for a bit, and now find another way to express this. And I was like, right, I have options. And that was really cool, because I was able to like be in my experience and do what I needed to do for my body in that moment, and then also recognize that like I did also have other options. Like it's not like I had to do that thing. And when that thing wasn't available, that could probably feel really scary. Like I could have spiraled a bit there. I could have been like, well, if I can't do that, what do I do? And like been really uncomfortable, been really angry, been really frustrated. Like there could have been a lot of emotion there. But for some reason in that moment, I was able to just be like, okay, yeah. Because he was like, find another way to express it. I was like, right, okay. So then I started moving again. And that felt really good. I was like moving through it again, and I was, I'm like breathing and kind of like moaning again. And I think I got a little bit loud again at one point, and he just kind of like came back over and was like, great job. Just like keep the noise to a minimum just for a bit. And I was like, okay, got you. So I was just like, yeah, moving. And it was a really, really nice moment of feeling agency, feeling like I had choice around what to do with what was happening in my body. Like I didn't feel, out of choices or controlled by this experience. I felt like I had a lot of options. And so it was really nice to be reminded of that by him. And then for the rest of the experience, for the rest of the ceremony, whenever there was discomfort, I was very able to recognize my options. Like if I tried something and it wasn't working, I would try something else. And if that wasn't working, I would try something else. And there was one point where I'd kind of tried everything and I still didn't really know what to do with myself. And then I was like, oh, I could ask for help. That's another option. That's always an option. And that was a really beautiful moment of agency too, because I was able to recognize like the limits of my own options, but then also ultimately like the option to ask for help is like just as equally valuable and important. And yeah, so I tapped on one of the guardians' back. He's this wonderful, amazing healing man. And he came over and he was like, what do you need? And I was like, I genuinely in that moment didn't know what I needed. So I was just like, can you just work your magic on me? And he was like, okay, lay on your back. And he did some body work on me. Like, he moved my feet around, he stretched my legs, he opened my hips, like all of this. And what I was noticing through that process was that I was having a really hard time surrendering. I was, you know, classically trained dancer. He was like stretching my leg like over my body, and I was like, point your toe, turn your foot out, straighten your knee. Like, I was like correcting, like, you know, open your hips, square your hips, like that, all of that shit. And he just kept telling me to surrender. And I would like try to surrender. So I'd relax the muscle, or like, you know, relax my foot or whatever. And then I would notice somewhere else that I was holding tension, and I would try to relax that. And then I would notice somewhere else that was holding tension, and I'd try to relax that. And it was a process. But again, there was this moment of like, oh, I understand what it means to surrender. Like, I don't think I in that moment I was like, I don't think I've ever understood what it actually means to surrender in this way. Like, surrender to the point that I'm not holding anything, and I'm like in full trust that this man, whose job it is to support me, like he's here to support me, he's one of the guardians, I am in full trust that he has got me. I don't have to hold my leg. I don't have to worry about my foot. I don't have to worry about anything. I can fully surrender. And it took a while, but I ended up in this state of like ragdoll, where he was just like moving my body around, and I was in full surrender. And I kept coming out of it and noticing I was holding something, or like tensing back up, and then intentionally relaxing again, and being in this process of full surrender, understanding that felt experience and what it's actually like to fully surrender was crazy. I don't think I've ever fully surrendered in that way, even when I'm like, you know, getting a massage or like in sex or anything like that. When I feel like I'm surrendering, I'm definitely still, you know, taking responsibility and very aware of the other person's experience. But this was an opportunity for me to learn what it is like to fully surrender and not feel responsible for anyone else's experience, or how I'm being perceived. That was another big thing that came up around like performance and performativity. And in order for me to fully surrender, I had to let go of the performance, the performer in me that wanted to like do a good job for him, or wanted to like perform a certain experience, or wanted to be likable, or wanted to be lovable in that moment, and instead just fully be like, I'm surrendering to however I'm being seen. I'm surrendering to whatever this process is, whatever he is feeling that my body needs. I'm just fully surrendering to it. It was really healing. I think really healing too that it was a man. Like, it really healed something in my masculine around being able to fully surrender and be under the complete control of a man and be safe. Yeah, and I definitely have that in my life, you know, like, I have a lot of safety in the masculine in my life because of, you know, my dad is a very safe person, and all the men in my family have been very safe people. There's obviously been men that are unsafe in my life, and that has its own stuff that it brings with it. And I think there's a divide, or has been a divide for me, between like men, you know, that I'm like blood related to, that are in my family that are safe, and like men that are not safe. And there was something in this process of like not really knowing this man, and him taking full control and telling me to surrender, and me allowing that process to happen was really healing. It was really beautiful. It was also interesting because he's a dancer too. He's like a professional dancer. And so we got to have a chat about it after, where he basically shared with me that he was able to feel, oh, it's raining. Maybe it won't rain very long. Yeah, it's not going to rain very long. He was able to feel, basically. Okay, it's raining, so we're standing under a tree. Yeah, so he was able to feel, basically, like he knew what I was doing when I was correcting my posture and like pointing my toe and like turning my foot out and all this stuff. He's like, I could feel what you were doing, because he knew, we had talked before, like we both knew each other were dancers. So he was like, I could totally feel what you were doing, and I would have done the exact same thing. And, you know, he's also like had his own journey with performance and softening and surrendering and all of that stuff. So he was like, yeah, it was like really interesting to witness you doing that. Yeah, so anyway, I had that experience with him, and then I came out of it, and one of the other folks in the space, who was a friend of mine, was really like going through it. Like it looked like really having a hard time. And, you know, I wanted to go over and like support her, because I was feeling all this empathy and feeling all this like caretaking maternal energy. Oh, that's another thing. Pin that. Feeling all this really like caretaking, empathetic, maternal energy, and wanting to really caretake and support other people in my life. But I was looking at her, and I was like very aware that I did not have the capacity to properly support someone else in that moment. Like I was not the right person for the job. And yeah, it was interesting to like be really in this flow of like maternal, caretaking, loving energy, and also recognize like the most loving thing that I can do in this moment is to recognize that I am not the right person for the job. And so instead I went over to the person that had given me body work and asked if he could go check on her, as, you know, like after whatever he was doing kind of thing. And yeah, that was a big moment for me too, was like to recognize my own limits and recognize that sometimes the most loving thing we can do is actually like recognize when someone else is better for the job, or recognize that we don't have capacity. Because, you know, had I gone over there and tried to help and been in the state that I was in, I wouldn't have been helpful. I could have made things worse. Whereas there's like literally people there, and their job is to support everyone else in the space. So like if someone else is here and it's literally their job to do it, like the best thing I can do is to send the right person for the job. And that, you know, that delegation, that like recognition of my own limits felt like a really important reminder as well, that I can't do everything and I can't be everything for everyone. And there's a lot of people that are better at a lot of things than I am. And that's actually beautiful. That's how we support each other as humans. So that was a really important moment as well. Something that I'm definitely going to carry. Yeah, and then the maternal feeling. There was this point where I was like on my back, and I was like on my back with my knees bent, feet on the floor, legs open, and I was like pulsing. And I was like, I had gone through this whole process of like understanding and like feeling into family and love and caretaking and all that. And I was like pulsing on my back with my legs open, and I was like, this is birth. Like, this is what I'm doing. Like, you know, there was all this stuff that wanted to get out of me. There was all this creative energy. I was singing, I was moving. A lot of what I was being told was around my self-expression, my creative expression, and how I haven't been really expressing myself nearly to my full capacity in the past couple of years. And that's why I feel so creatively blocked, because I actually haven't been really expressing myself in the way that I as a human need to. And I'm not even 100% sure what that means, but that's what was coming through. So I was on my back and I was pulsing, and like, you know, I'd been singing, I'd been purging, like stuff was coming out of me. I was creatively expressing, and then I was like, oh my God, I'm birthing. That's what I'm doing. And I was like, wow, like my body could do that. And like, I understand why you would. Like, it sounds silly, but like, obviously I understand why people would have a baby. Obviously I understand why people would give birth. I think it's beautiful. I just spent like quite a bit of time with my best friend and her baby, and have really been around that. So it's like not that surprising that it came up. But for the first time in my life, I like properly, fully understood, as like a felt experience of understanding that desire to have a baby and to take care of this tiny little thing. I was like, I get it. I understand. Oh, and it was, yeah, that portal was really crazy. I was in the birth portal for a while. I was like imagining and like seeing in my mind's eye, like getting impregnated actually, and like had a felt experience of what it would be like to like get impregnated, like get fertilized. And that was like a really interesting feeling of desire around that, which I've never experienced before. I've always been like, nope, no. But yeah, like getting impregnated and like growing human and like having a child. And it didn't even stop there. It was like picturing having a child, like, you know, as the child grows up and like making dinner for the family and these kinds of things that I've never really felt into that much for myself. But I have said, you know, to my friends and family and stuff, I have said, like, I would love to feel that desire, because I haven't felt that desire until, this experience of like, not necessarily, I'm not like put a baby in me right now. I'm not like, there's not like urgency around it, but it's more so this felt sense of understanding of like why you would do that, and understanding, you know, that I could, and maybe someday I'll want to, and like it no longer feels like this like scary thing that I like don't want to think about. It actually feels like something really beautiful, and I've never really seen that for myself before. So that was crazy. Fully in a birth portal. I'm like having sensations of like my pussy like being activated. My womb felt like it was like expanding. Like I'm doing a lot of this, because it was a lot of like, yes, I'm literally in a graveyard. There's a lot of like expanding and like releasing and like opening and like very like peak creative expression, obviously. You know, and then there was a moment where I was outside and I was like looking up at the stars, and again, just like feeling into familial love and like just so much gratitude, like so much empathy, so much like life is who you spend it with type of vibes, you know. And that's another like cheesy thing that we all say to each other, and like obviously we all say to each other these things and we like know what they mean, but to like actually fully properly understand like what that means, like life is who you spend it with, and just be like in that and feeling for all my people and feeling so grateful for connection and all of that. It's just like a guy throwing stuff in the trash. It was like really awkward to talk while he was there. But yeah, life is who you spend it with. Really deeply understanding that, feeling for all my people, and just looking up at the sky and being like, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for my family. Thank you, God, for Cameron. Thank you, God, for like, just thank you, God. Again, of course, like so much gratitude for Cam. So much came up around him, and just, but honestly, like it was just all like gratitude and like, you know, feeling into like our familial love and like building a family and like building a life, and like just literally like gratitude. That's it. I mean, it's not it. It was like a big fucking experience. It was like crazy, but it was beautiful. And then at one point, I can't even really remember when it was, but I was like standing, looking up, holding my heart and swaying and thinking about Nana, and I was like crying clearly for like a long time, but I didn't realize really for like a while. And then at one point I realized I was crying, and I was like, oh, this is good. Like, let's have a cry, because I hadn't had a cry yet. So I had a cry. That felt so good. And just, yeah, nothing negative. Again, just like, I miss you, I love you, like that kind of stuff. Just a good big cry. It felt like she was really there, but I didn't like see her. I didn't talk to her. There was no like, you know, tangible interaction, but it was like a felt sense that she was there. And I was just like, I love you, I miss you. And just like repeating that and having a big cry. And that was great. And then at some point I was looking around the space and like, dude, this was actually like funny. I was like looking around the space, and I was like, everyone having like every type of human experience. Like, you know, someone's like throwing up, someone's crying, someone's like pounding on the ground with their fist, someone was like screaming, someone was like standing. There was this one dude that was just like standing around the temple with his like hands in front of him, like holding both his hands in front of him, just like standing there with his eyes closed for like time, like hella time. And he was wearing all white, and he was just giving like statue over Butte, Montana or something like that. But yeah, and I was just like looking around at like all the things that were in the room and everything that was happening, and you know, like someone getting body work, someone crying, someone outside, someone like rolling around, like someone like spitting up, or like all of the things. And I was just like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what the fuck is happening? And it kind of felt like just gonna walk over here because this guy's back. It kind of felt like I was watching a silent disco. Like, it felt very, like, I don't know, it was just funny to like witness everybody and be like, okay, everybody's clearly like going through something really intense, and like I understand. Like, you know, I was watching someone pound the floor, and I was like, I understand what that must be like. Like, I don't know what you're experiencing, but like I can understand that you need to do that. I was really in my understanding still, but then I was just kind of like, humans are absurd. Like, it's all in here. Like, every possible human experience is in this room right now. And actually, at one point, Nicole yelled that while she was getting body work. She was just like, it's all in here. And everybody was like, kind of one by one, as everyone realized that had been said, everybody was like having their own moment with it. And then everybody was like, it's all in here. It's all in here. And then we were all like, it's all in here. And that was really crazy too, because like it was all in there. It's all in there. Yeah, dude, it was all in there for sure. So yeah, the absurdity like had a big laugh. Like, that kind of felt like a purge too, like just like a big hysterical laugh. And I remember, you know, lots of people have said that like they purged by laughing. God, there's fucking ants everywhere. It's actually insane. A lot of people have said to me that they purged through laughter. And yeah, I definitely had like a laughing moment. And there was like this point where I was looking across the room at this other woman that was there. And every time I like tuned into her, I could like hear what she was saying, or like just like I was tuned into her, she would do something fucking hilarious, and I would just like burst out laughing. And then I like could not stop laughing. Like, I was like laughing. But that was like really joyful. Had another moment with a rose, similar to the first night, just like really holding the rose to my heart and like swaying and being in like the beauty and like the divinity of the rose and like all of that. Yeah, really into the music. There was a lot of singing from like other folks in the space. There was a lot of singing. Yeah. Honestly, a lot happened, but the whole time I was very much in the vibration of love, and I was very just like, I want to, you know, create more space in my life. Like, it felt like, because I just turned 30, it was very much like a start of a new chapter, a new era. And what came through for me a lot was that like this part of my life is really meant to be about like sharing wisdom and sharing experience and sharing story, because I, you know, a lot of my 20s, most of my 20s was having experiences. I like did a lot of stuff, did a lot of shit, had a lot of experiences, met a lot of people, put myself in a lot of crazy situations, learned a lot, grew a lot, changed a lot, you know, like lived a lot of places, like just had a really selfish 20s in a good way. Like, and when that came up, when that came through, it wasn't coming through as like a you selfish bitch, like negative way. It was like a, no, you actually like needed to be selfish for your 20s, for that decade, so that you could have all these experiences, so that you could share wisdom and you could share story. And the importance of story was really coming through too, because you know, I've been grappling recently with like not sharing a lot of my personal stuff. You know, in my writing, it's a lot of educational stuff. It's a lot of like somatic therapy, sexology kind of adjacent stuff. It's for my work, and ultimately where I find most creative inspiration for writing is like through story, personal essays, personal experiences, that kind of thing. And I haven't really been writing in that format recently. And I haven't really been able to understand why. And I think it's just this belief that, you know, no one would read it. No one cares. Who am I to like share my personal experiences? Like, why would anyone care? And really just essentially trying to like understand like what was blocking me. And yeah, then on the medicine, it was very much like you needed to have all of these experiences and like really prioritize yourself and be selfish in your 20s and do all the things you wanted to do so that you could share your wisdom, you know, so that this part of your life could be about sharing and teaching and story and expression and putting yourself out there. And it was also very Celestine prophecy. Like, it was very like, one of the downloads I got was about how we learn lessons at the right time. Like, we learn lessons when we're meant to learn lessons, you know, and there's a lot of, in humanity, there's a lot of like, I wish I knew this sooner, or like things I wish I knew in my 20s, or like, had I known this, I wouldn't have done that, you know. And like, one of the downloads I got that was like quite intense was like, no, like, you, just like the 10 insights in the Celestine prophecy, like, you learn when you are ready to receive the lesson. Like, you can't skip over lessons or you won't get the learning, you won't get the teaching, you won't get it. Like, you have to learn in the right order at the right time. You have to, in order to like receive the information. So yeah, there was no like, oh fuck, like I should have been doing this, or, you know, I was too selfish, or like blah 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 blah. There was no regrets. It was very, you learned all these lessons as you were meant to learn them to get to where you are now. And that was really cool. So I felt just like very at ease around that, around my timeline, around my process, around like this past decade of my 20s and everything that's happened, and going into my 30s feeling very grounded and very at ease and very curious about what it's going to mean to share myself and creatively express. And, you know, thinking about like, okay, what do I want to change or shift in my world? You know, like what feels important for me right now, and what maybe isn't actually serving me anymore, or what maybe feels like an older version of me, or maybe just isn't a priority right now, and really feeling into that too. Because ultimately, like, and this came up several times, is like, I need to make a change because I'm not prioritizing expressing myself. I'm not prioritizing creativity in the way that I need to be. You know, like I am. My life is very creative, but I think what the medicine kind of showed me was that I need to live like a very creative life. I need to stop trying to like fit myself into a mold or do all the things I feel like I should be doing. Like, instead I need to actually surrender, like fully surrender to the process of creation, and trust that it will work. You know, I think that's what blocks me a lot, is feeling like, okay, I can allocate this much time a week for my personal projects, and then I need to do everything else. And then even when that time comes that I've allocated for my personal projects, I can think of like another thing that needs to get done, or something that's more important, or something that's more practical. And that's not trusting at all. That's scarcity. That's like, no, I need to answer this email. No, I need to, you know, follow up with this person. No, I need to, like, whatever the fuck it is. It's not trusting. And, you know, what's missing from me living the creative life that I want and writing and sharing story is believing that that's worth it and that's valuable, and believing that, like, even though I have designed my life around the things that I love, and I, you know, to many people probably live a creative life, to me, I'm not living in my creative flow. And that might look really, you know, unorthodox or unconventional or silly or dumb or immature or frivolous or childish or irresponsible, like all these things that come up, you know, that's my shadow around it is, and that's ultimately why I'm not, you know, I'm not living in the exact frequency I want to, is because there's all these beliefs around myself as an artist and how that's like a nice idea but not going to pay the bills, and like you can be an artist as a hobby or in your spare time, but you can't, like, you know, that's not a career, like that shit, which, you know, I've been told a million times in my life, and I'm sure many of us have. But I'm just really trying to integrate the teaching from the medicine that's bullshit. There's a lot of people that move through that and get past that and are living the creative life and like in their creative flow, and they make it work, and I can do that. So yeah, the integration is that, and I'm really excited to see how it manifests. There's, you know, a couple action steps that I've decided I'm going to take around it when I get back, and I'm leaving LA today and flying back to Sydney, so it feels like a really beautiful chapter. I'm really excited to get back and like integrate some of the action steps that I've now seen for myself, and also honestly just really, again, like, I understand what people say when they mean lead with love. Like, that's another thing that came through, another saying that came through was like, I have, you know, on an intellectual level, I think I've like gotten it before. Like, I understand what that means, but like from like a felt sense of like my day-to-day, hour-to-hour, minute-to-minute practice of like leading with love feels so much more clear now. Like, I get what that means. I understand. I see. And it's, yeah, just this like all seeing, all understanding, all knowing experience of like, I understand. And all we need to do is be a good person, lead with love, and provide safe space for other people. So that really feels like my integration piece, my takeaway, what I'm integrating. But I've felt very peaceful these past 2 days. I felt very at ease. It was nice to be in Sedona for a day after the ceremony. We had like an integration circle where we all shared, and it was so interesting to hear about everybody else's experiences, what everybody else went through. And then we kind of just chilled around Sedona, but I was exhausted, and so was Nicole, so we didn't do a whole lot. And then yesterday we drove from Sedona back to LA, which was like 8 hours, and just had a nice car ride, did some singing, you know, in the car, that kind of thing. And now I have one more day in LA, and then I'm flying back to Sydney tonight. So excited to get home. Feeling a lot of gratitude for everyone that was there. If you're listening to this, you know who you are. I adore you. So grateful for Sedona and like the powerful vortex that part of the world is. The red rock, you can just fucking feel it. I've been wearing a lot of carnelian, and I bought a carnelian, and my carnelian that I bought in Sedona was there with me through the whole ceremony. So yeah, that feels really charged. I like saged it when I left, but it feels really charged and potent. And yeah, I'm excited to get back and like feel into, you know, how I can shake things up a bit. Really just, yeah, like shake up what I'm doing a bit, realign, and find my creative expression again. And I really fucking want to take singing lessons, so I'm going to do that. I'm just going to do it. I don't want to be like a, you know, an artist, like a singing lady, singer, I guess you could just say singer. But I think that's going to be important for me somehow. I somehow need to use my voice. You know, whenever I read my poetry out loud, people always say I need to be reading it out loud, and I'm always kind of like, oh yeah, but like I never actually do. I need to find ways of using my voice, because that feels like it came through really strong for like a long time. And then one of the women that was there, that was actually the musician that was performing for like a good chunk of the ceremony. She was like a beautiful, gorgeous singer. And during our integration day, she came over to me and said, like, let me know when you want to learn how to use your voice, because you've got a lot of power, clearly. And I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah. So that's on my radar. Anyway, I'm going to get out of this cemetery now because it's a bit weird and full of ants. But I just kind of wanted to, like, you know, get this downloaded before it's kind of out here for myself mostly, to have as a resource and to come back to. But yeah, I understand is the motto. It's been my motto. I understand has been my motto since that ceremony. And creativity, offering that part of myself to the world a bit more fully, a bit more consciously. And life is who you spend it with, and I fucking love all my people, and I'm just so grateful. I sound so corny. I am. Like, honestly, since that ceremony, I'm so corny. I'm like insufferable. I'm like, gratitude, lead with love, live, love, laugh. Like, I'm insufferable. You probably don't want to be around me for a while, but I love you nonetheless. And you know what? I understand. Okay. Thank you for tuning in. That was my Aya journey. Yeah. Hit me up if you want to talk about it. Mwah.
I would understand. I would understand. The angry boy, a bit too insane. I sing over a secret pain. You know you